So then we move to part B. In part B now, we're going to start talking about blood groups, right? So again, we read the introduction. In humans, the A, B, O blood groups are determined by multiple alleles of a single gene. The gene locus is usually represented by the symbol I, and the blood groups may be represented as follows. So then part 1 asks us now to briefly explain the nature of the relationship between alleles in the AB blood group. So that's this one here, right? They're asking us to explain that one. So we're saying that the allele that codes for A and the alleles that codes for B, because it results in you being AB and one is not dominant over the other, they're both equally dominant. They have equal presence, or they show equally in the phenotype, or they're both expressed equally. At the end, we would describe them as being co-dominant, right? So that is what you want to write here. That is actually what we would call the jargon, or the big word, or the term.
Co-dominance.
You know? I mean, if you don't know the word and you describe it, you will still get 2 marks. But you know, you could describe it and get 2 marks, or you could you could stunt and say it a little bit and be like, I know things, right? I know words, right? So then you would write your answer here as co-dominant. So from the time you write co-dominant there, you're 1 mark short, right? But again, in questions, they say briefly explain. So just writing a term there is not enough. You need to briefly explain. So co-dominant here is just going to show that both alleles are expressed equally in the phenotype. Nice. Right? So A and B are both expressed equally in the phenotype. Understand? So we're getting like 2 marks there. Now, moving on to part 2. So part 2, this is the part where we talk about who is the baby daddy, right? This is where we have a paternity suit, we have a little bacchanal, and we kind of have to figure out, okay, is this man the child father or not? So in a paternity suit, a female with blood type O has accused a male with blood type B of being the father of her child. The child has blood group O. So part A is saying, deduce the blood type of the accused male, which will clearly, without a doubt, prove that he is not the father of the child. Let's break it down and look at what the question told us, right? So they told us a female with blood type O here, right? Female with blood type O. That means her genotype has to be II. She don't have any A's or B's, right? They told us that the father is blood type B. So that means daddy is either this one or this one, right? And then they tell us that the child is blood type O. So that means the child has to be II, like mommy. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, and remember, just in case we didn't have this together so far, for mommy and daddy, you're going to get 1 copy from each parent, right? So from mommy, you could only get I's, the small I's. You could only get this one without A or B. You could only get this one from mommy. Daddy, if daddy is this, then you can only get the B antigen. If daddy is this, daddy could give you this one or this one, right? So in order for the child to be II, he or she needs to get an I from mommy and an I from daddy. So they're asking you, deduce the blood genotype of the accused male, which will clearly prove that he is not the father of the child, right? So if he is this genotype, it means that he could still give this small I, and that could be the child. That could be his child. But if he is this, he has no small I to give. So therefore, he could never make a child who would be II with this specific woman. So then the genotype of the dad would have to be
BB. Well done, Michael John.
Yes. The phenotype of daddy would have to be this, right? He can't have any small I's to give. So this here means that there's no way that he could be the father of this child, and the justification is that he can only, if he's this genotype, he can only give
the dominant allele B.
Allele IB, which is dominant, and the child would be blood group B. Yeah?
100%. Got
So
it.
that's for your 3 marks there, right? So then moving on to part B, this is the last 3 marks to total of our 15 marks to get full marks in this question. Is they say if the male parent in B part 2, part A above has blood type B, which is what they told us before, demonstrate the inheritance of the blood type O of the child. Use the given symbols and a Punnett square. So when they ask us to do the Punnett square here, this is what we're going to show, like the cross. What's the possibilities of the crosses that can happen that would result in a child that would be blood type O. So we have mom and we have dad, right? We know mom has to be II because they told us that that's the only way mommy can be blood type O. And daddy, if he is to be the father, if there's a possibility he's the father of the child, then he would be IBI.
Got it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So then in a Punnett square, what you do is, so you all know in humans are diploid, right? That means we have 2 copies of each gene. So that's why there's always 2 letters we're looking at for each person, right? So that's why we have 2 letters here and 2 letters here, because we diploid and we always have 2 copies of each gene. But when we form in our gametes, like the egg and the sperm, only one of those fits in the gamete at a time, right? So mommy could only make, so she can make an I gamete or an I gamete. All her gametes look the same for this particular gene locus, right? Daddy can make gametes that look like this, IB or I, right? So what we're going to do is a Punnett square to see all the possibilities of the combinations of gametes, like how the different ones can match up, right? So in a Punnett square, you would put daddy's possible gametes to the top. So let's label dad to the top, and his possible gametes would be IB or I, right? And then we will put mommy's possible gametes to this side.
Does it have to be dad going on top?
No, it can be either way.
Okay.
Right? You put one parent on one side and the other parent on the other side, right?
Right.
Mom could only make I gametes. So to be fair, you could only do 1 row because the 2 is the same. But I will do it the proper way just so that, this works every single time, right? So mommy could only make I gametes, right? So then when you have, if this is combined, so if this gamete fuses with this gamete, the child would be IBI, and it will be the same thing here, right? Because it's the same 2 types of gametes meeting. Then if this gamete from daddy matches with this gamete, the child would be small I, and the same thing here, right?
Yeah.
So using this table here and showing the 4 possibilities of the combination of gametes, I'll leave out mommy then. Right, this is the Punnett square that they're asking for.
Right.
Come on. Right, this is the Punnett square. Right, and we use the symbols that they gave us. And you can tell, remember, the child is blood type O. That means the child has to be II. So the only 2 possibilities that this mom and this dad can make a child that is blood type O is if this combination happened. If daddy was this genotype here,
Right.
and he gave his small I to match with mommy's small I.
A 50% chance?
Yes. So
Nice.
it's a 50%.
Somebody said they remember doing this for CXE. I too. I remember this. This was vibes. This have a kind of mathematical twist to it. And
Say, I spelled Punnett. I spelled Punnett wrong. I'm gonna stop embarrassing myself, right?
nice. So we're gonna enjoy some revision coming up to the exams. Thank you, Miss Akili Joseph, for your expertise in the Cape biology. And if you want to join her classes, well, the registration for the classes in a way is closed because she has all but completed the syllabus, but we are still doing lots of practice papers coming right down. But you can join her class if you pay a bulk fee of 1,000 TT, and you'll get access to all her notes, all her classes, all that she did before. in the Student Hub, the assignments, the solutions, and you can WhatsApp. Javish is sending the number there. You can WhatsApp this number 7840619 to register to the Student Hub classes. We have crash courses coming up. If you want to do the crash course alone in biology, just to prepare for the exam, that's 200. You can register for that as well. WhatsApp this number. Love and blessings. Don't forget to press like on this video. Till we meet again.
All right. Bye.